The event which triggered this film was when I went to South Africa for my stepfather's funeral. And the minute I got there, the minute I got off the plane, I realized, number one, that he, in South Africa, is not considered my stepfather. That he's considered my father. And then number two, that I just saw him in a way that I understood him so much better. You know, when I grew up with him in the United States, he was always in exile, always kind of an outsider, in some ways a little bit disempowered. But in Bloemfontein, South Africa, which is his hometown, you know, he was a hero, and I got to see things which I had misconstrued. After I interviewed the disciples, the living disciples, I came back to the United States and I began to write a script. And I realized that in the early part of the history, there's not that much documentation. And so I, in some ways, needed a way to create visual images for this. Also, I was very interested in making this kind of a more communal project and in creating a myth out of these 12, you know, for the people who lived in Bloemfontein in particular. And so I got the idea to actually get young people involved as actors to act out the story. And many of these people are, you know, some of these people are actually neighbors of the disciples, and they didn't even know their history. You know, there's a very strong link between, not only between the South African liberation movement and other independence movements across Africa, but also the connection between independence movements across Africa, across Asia, and the civil rights movement in the United States. And so there's, you know, I really am interested in getting young people to be aware of the connections that existed and exist today between these different countries and the histories. It's important to know that our actions can have reverberations across the globe. You know, that, you know, not being a world leader, not being a huge head of a huge organization, that we can make a step, and that step can have reverberations which can tremendously change the world.